It's time for our Future Shock 2.0 segment with Ira Wolfe. Ira Wolfe, let's talk about job skills and the shortages of skilled workers. Unpack it for us.
John, appreciate being back. One of the things that I look at, and I hear this all the time, my people are saying, what do you think is going to happen? What's wrong with people? What's wrong with the workers today? They're not motivated. They're not skilled. It's everybody gaslights. Everybody points to someone else. It comes down to, is there a shortage? And there absolutely is. We talk about that every week on the Future Shock 2.0. But there's also a hiring skill shortage. And what I mean by that, companies need to really look differently at how they approach people. And one of the key areas is just in education. I was presented with an interesting question the other day, and it was about, do employers value online education the same way they do the traditional educational role? And the fact is that companies still looking at, do people have a degree? And many jobs, in fact, more than 60% of all the jobs that are out there today don't require a degree. They don't require a 4-year degree. They do require education, but not a traditional 4-year degree. And experience. How many years of experience do you have? And for many jobs today, we don't have experience because the jobs didn't exist 3 or 4 years ago. And the jobs that did exist are very different. So when we start talking about job shortages, labor shortages, we really need companies really need to look differently at what type of education is needed, what type of experience is needed. Where they get educated isn't as important as if they got educated. Someone who is working, has a full-time job, raising a family, and taking online courses, doesn't that show initiative? Doesn't that show a growth mindset? Doesn't that show the ability to want to change? And yet, employers are still looking at, do they have a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree? What's college they go to? Do they value an Ivy League college more than a state university over University of Phoenix or one of the online colleges? What about people that have learned on their own? What about people who have I wrote about this in my book, and the book's the first edition's 5 years old. We talked about people earning badges. What do they do on their time off? You can become educated going to YouTube University these days. And yet many companies are still stuck on this credentialing, and it's false credentialing, because the relevance of having a degree and the relevance of having 5 years experience or 10 years experience just doesn't work anymore. So although there is a shortage of skilled people, there's really a shortage of skilled hiring when it comes down to the employer side.
YouTube University, I like that. Looking forward to having you back next week, Ira. Thank you, Ira Wolfe. Ira is an author, workforce trends expert, and top 5 global thought leader on the future of work and HR. And he hosts his own popular podcast, Geeks, Geezers, and Googleization.